Hello, I am HQ of HQ Reacts. If you have made it this far and you're not subscribed, please hit the like button and subscribe and share. If you find me on other social media platforms, please follow me. And you might find me on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, or YouTube. Hey, everybody. It's HQ. I am out here. I am doing my thing. What the hell? Doing our thing. So we have our ladies here. To support the show today, or take questions and issues that we have for the ladies. People just be calling me for no reason. Hold on. Anyway, that's somebody calling me for no reason. Today is the ladies' show. The ladies' night. Ladies' show. What do we have? All week long, all of the people that I have met, all of the women that I have run to, I've asked them one question because I really wanted to know, questions that a woman, I heard the men continuously all over the internet say, women only want one thing, or they're driven by one thing, money, looks, and all of that. And I said flat out to every man that I ran into, that I had this conversation with, women are primarily run, or women stay with men or get with men because of one primary reason. She has a variety of reasons, but her main reason is safety and security. I don't know how many times I said it to women. I think I said it to 20 plus women all week. Every woman that I ran across. What made you get with your husband? What made you get with your spouse? What made you get with the man you got with, right? And they all boil down to that one particular word, safety or security. I said, what did he feel after you got with him? What did you feel? Was it the look? Because I know we had the discussion about weight and men being overweight on the men show, on the male contestant show, or the male coffee show. And I said, women, we don't look at the looks like that. We look at how the man makes us feel, whether he makes us feel safe, wanted, that kind of thing. And every woman, hands down, that I asked, why did you get with your man or stay with your man? It was because of security or safety. And nothing to do with money. And every last one of them said it had nothing to do with money. So, that being said, we have a series of questions, ladies, that we like to talk about. Questions that I have for the ladies. What would you do in this particular scenario, just to get an idea of what ladies would do and what ladies they think would do, and so on and so forth. Because we always have this dynamic where they think a lady will do this, but she really won't do that, or she really will do this. Okay? Safety equals money. No, safety doesn't necessarily equal money. To some women, safety does equal money, but not to most women. Safety comes in different forms, right? And when we bring ladies up, when we bring a lady up, we will ask her that question. Okay? We will ask a lady that question. What would you do? How does this relate to you? Okay, would you rather this or would you rather that? What's a red flag for you? What's a green flag for you? So, who is a lady? And I pinned a invitation in the chat. Pinned an invitation in the chat for any lady who would like to come up and then have a real discussion about women. Real discussion as to why women may think or do the things that they do. Okay? How would you react in this particular way? Because we're trying to get to know the ladies. How do the ladies come across to the men? Because we always hear about what men like and what men do. We as women also have needs and wants and desires and things like that. Okay? So we would like the ladies to tell us what you think. How do you think? And I'll ask this question. Let's put this question out there. One question I would ask the ladies: what if you found out the man you were dating or the man you were married to had a child that you did not know about, and you found out within the first year of you being married? You did not know. Maybe he did not know. I don't know. He has a child that you don't know about until you're married or you're in a relationship with this person for 6 months. Is that a red flag? Is it a green flag? What would a woman do? What should a woman do? Because this happens a lot. Okay? Not that he's ever had a child on you. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about you just finding out if he has a child. 3 months in, 6 months in. What do you do? Is it a green flag or is it a red flag? Yeah. If he didn't know, how can you be angry? Right. I guess that would be an answer that you could say. I cannot be angry because of that. But it depends on the woman too. It depends on the woman. And the whole point is, it's not fair if he didn't know and you both found out, then you can't blame him. But if he did know, what if he did know and he just didn't want to lose you? How do you feel as a woman? Because this happens sometimes, with men who are reckless with their peen, who may be reckless with their peen, who may not even be thinking beyond having a sexual relationship. This happens. How do we deal with that? And how does a woman deal with that? Okay. We have to have a discussion about it. And a lot of people run into this. Or a lot of women run into this. Okay. So what does she do? Okay. Another question. And think about it before you come up. Next question. Would you rather have a man who is a good father and a shitty partner, or a shitty father and a good partner or provider? Because we have a lot of those situations too. You have an ex-girlfriend who had a baby. You're not over there providing for that child. She's just doing all of it alone, and you move on to a new relationship. You're the best boyfriend in the world, but you're not taking care of this child over here. How does that make you a good man? So, you're a great father, but a shitty partner, or you're a shitty father and a good partner? We run into that too. And so these are questions I want to ask ladies, and I want them to be very honest when they answer those. Okay. He says, I'm in love with her. I'm in love with you, but I don't want to marry you. I'm in love with you, but I don't want to marry you. How long does a woman wait? How long is a woman supposed to wait? If at all. Do you wait? Because there's a lot of men who say, oh, I don't want to get married. I don't want the law involved with my family. I don't want the law involved with anything. What do, ladies? When you know you want to get married, but you love this person, but they don't want to marry you. And you have that happen too. What do? 6 months in, a year in, after you in love with this person, you find out, shit, he ain't finna marry me. He said, the hell with that. He ain't finna marry me at all. What do? Okay. What does a woman do? This is a question that the ladies and the men need to answer, which is an interesting dynamic too. Okay. And I say my last question would be, how do you know? Wait a minute. What's one trait a man must have for you to consider marrying him? What does he need to do? What does he need to say? What does he need to present for you to say that man is marriage material, and I want to marry this man? What does this man need to put forth? Because I think a lot of women feel as though you're going to give a man sexual access without taking care of yourself, or without, what is it called, protecting yourself. And this is how a lot of us get pregnant. You don't protect yourself, so you recklessly have sex with a person without any kind of protection, because you think you're in a relationship. You're in a relationship, or you're not using protection at all. What does a man have to do in order for you to be reckless enough to not use birth control, and reckless enough where you end up being pregnant by somebody who doesn't want to get married? These are the questions I have for the ladies. Do they have answers to these? Because the men say, oh, it's the women's fault. It's her. She's the one who's supposed to prioritize not getting pregnant. She's the one that's not supposed to get pregnant. Why isn't that women are not listening to the men when they say, prioritize that? Prioritize not getting pregnant. These are questions that we can ask the women. Not all women, just the specific women who want to come up. Okay. He says he loves you, but he's not ready to marry you. How long do you wait? And these are the questions we have for the ladies. Okay. So without further ado, ladies, please come up. It could be one lady, it could be two ladies, but we want to answer to these questions because I want to be specific because we want the men to hear. We want the men to hear how it sounds outside of their head because men make it sound as though, hey, I'm the one who. No. Do we leave immediately? He doesn't want to marry you. He doesn't want the law to get involved. See, that's just another way to say, I don't want to marry you. You're not good enough to be married to. Is that what that means? Because I've heard a lot of men say that. I don't want to marry. I don't want the law to get involved. You, first of all, it can't be because you don't make enough money. It can't be about money because you don't make enough money. And a house and a car is no reason to stop being married because you have a house and a car, and you might have some property or some money. That's no reason not to get married. So I'm telling the ladies, that's no reason. It's an excuse. So we want the ladies to really, really, and I want ladies who are not male centered. I want you to speak from a female perspective, not from a male perspective. Speak from the selfish part of you as a female. How do you really feel when you hear these questions? Okay. Hey, I'm bright colors. Wow. How you doing?
I'm doing well. How
Oh,
are you, HQ?
fine. I'm
Good.
fine. Someone said to narrow down those questions because ladies have specific can be specific on these things. They
Hmm.
can. So my question would be for the first question for you was what advice would you give to women who run into men who say, I don't need to get married. I just want to, but you feel a different way. You feel differently. Why would you, or what would you do with someone whose boyfriend said, I'm not getting married? Well, I'm not ready to get married, and we've been dating 2, 3 years. What would you say to that woman?
Honestly, to me, that stuff is on a case by case basis.
Mhm.
I mean, I don't know these people's intricate details of their relationship. Some people have solid reasons as to why they don't want to get married. And I know a lot of people kind of are against that, but I try to hear people out before I pass judgment on why they don't want to do something because especially when we talk about these high earning guys, I don't blame them. Don't do it. Don't do it. And if you're going to do it, get a prenup.
Right.
Like,
I'd get a prenup before I do anything.
yeah, but your everyday average Joe walking around that says that he does not want to commit to marriage, there are so many perspectives of it being just legal documentation. It's just a ring. Nothing changes after the wedding day besides the ring on your finger.
Right.
So there's different scenarios in which can apply, but I know times have really changed. I mean, the marriage aspect of actually getting married and having the ring and all of that, I mean, does it still exist? Of course, but I think it's just not as it's a hit or miss. It's like you do it, you do it. If you don't, you don't.
Mhm.
I think a lot of times more so, as they say, what we know doesn't need to be explained. So sometimes it's just not as a significant thing as it used to be.
Mm.
But my own personal opinions, I will keep out of it.
So, what advice? So, if you had a young lady, and she said, "Well, we've been not young lady, but I guess she would be 25 or so," and she said, "You know what? We've been dating since we've been teenagers. We've been dating this long.
Hmm.
What would you say to her?" And she says, "I want to get married." And he hasn't gotten a valid reason not to get married. Well, he says the law, or he says whatever. Both of you, don't, neither one of you have any money. So, are we saying if you're poor, it would be better to get married if you're both poor? as opposed to him having the money? Is it better that way?
I don't think that makes a difference one way or the other. If he's telling you he does not want to get married,
Mhm.
as women, why are we trying to change the man? He's already told you where he stands. If
Okay.
it's been 2 or 3 years, you have to make a solid decision. What's more important for you as a woman? Is
Mhm.
that something that you're not willing to be open to as far as not having that legal documentation? Is up to the individual. And I
Mhm.
think it goes without saying, if a woman definitely says she wants to get married, and if she comes across a guy that she's been with for 3 years and he's telling her after 3 years he still does not want to get married,
Right.
you got to decide what is it for you. Is this something that you're willing to walk away from, or do you still want to stay with this individual?
Yeah, because we tell women that they have to marry before they carry. So
Hmm.
can't so I'm looking at it from that perspective. If she has to carry and marry before she carries and she wants to have children, it's a better opportunity for her to walk away. Because this has been drilled into the community. Well, you don't have a baby unless you're gonna be married to the person. So
Yeah.
from that perspective, then I would say if you're dealing with someone and you know that you want to have children and they're saying no, we're not doing that, then you have an opportunity to walk away and find somebody else because they don't want to have children, but you do, right?
Right.
Unless you just want to have a child out of wedlock, and we're and that's frowned upon still, even though it's socially acceptable these days. You personally say I'm not having a child out of wedlock, then I think it would be your best interest to walk away because
Yeah.
you're not aligned right there in that scenario, right? And I would say that to the woman. But if you can wait and you're not really in a rush to have children, and the person says I may be at some particular point, and you love this person, try to deal with what you have to deal with, but don't have a child if you don't want to have a child out of wedlock. But then we ran into a lot of women. Some women have waited and waited. He don't want to marry me. Da 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 da. So these are choices that you all have to make before you settle down and say, "Hey, I'm going to stick it out, even though he doesn't want to marry me." So
Yeah.
I can see both sides. I can see walking away because of that, and I can see sticking around because I love him and I want to, wait it out. But is it
Mhm.
fair to make her wait it out? Is it fair? And he knows that she wants to get married. Is it fair? Or should he walk away? Should he say, I know she doesn't want to stay here? Should he make the choice for her?
I feel like the man has already told you. It's not like he's blindsiding you. It's one thing if someone misleads you and they don't give you the information, but if he has already provided this information, what she chooses to do with it is up to her. That
Mhm.
trying to change somebody's mind, I don't care if it's man, woman, child, it's like you can't, at least an adult child, let me rephrase that.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, he's told you where he stands, and I think we have to take that and actually utilize it. Okay, he said this is what it is.
Mm,
So it's not like it's misleading. He's not giving you false information. I feel like he's being transparent.
mhm.
Communication is the foundation of any relationship. If he's communicating it to you, he's telling you what it is. You can't turn around and then be like, oh man, I just wasted 3 and 4 and 5 years of my life.
Right.
No. I mean, I feel like he's doing what he should do.
Absolutely. So it's a case by case basis, and you
Hmm.
have to make a decision that's best for you as a woman. Second question. He has a child that you didn't know about.
Hmm.
Pop up out of nowhere. We don't know whether he know or he don't know, but it's a child. That's
Hmm.
a fact. The child is a fact. What if you are married to him? Is it different if you're married to this man as opposed to dating him? And what would be the difference? And what would be your reaction?
Well, for me personally, if I'm dating the guy and he finds out that he has a child, is the child at this point an adult, or are they
Young,
still?
young child, maybe less than 3 years old.
Oh no, I got to go, HQ. You know I ain't playing with these kids out here. All right, now look, taking me out of it. If in fact he does have a child and they are dating, It depends on the backstory to it, because I do know that sometimes women will keep that information from a man. That is absolutely wrong. It is not fair under any circumstances, and rightfully so. If he does not know,
Right.
we I mean, come on. He can't tell us something he doesn't know.
Right.
So, I mean, if this woman really loves this guy, even if she's dating him, they don't have to be married. If she really loves this guy, and if this is something that he just truly did not have awareness of,
Right.
yes, I think that she should stay with him.
Right.
Marriage, same thing. If
He
if
knew, if
in
he
fact
knew, if he knew.
if this was not during their marriage.
Okay. If he knew and he didn't tell you and you're married to him,
At that point, it's deceit. That's probably a lie I would not be able to bypass, only because for me, communication is such a big factor.
right?
And so I feel like if you know, that's not something small.
Right.
You know, that's not something minor. I think we have to use our own discernment when we think about what's significant and what's not. And I
Mhm.
think a child you know of, that's a huge one that I feel that you need to definitely disclose to your wife. Yeah, definitely need to be a conversation.
That's a serious breach
Yeah.
in a relationship. That's a serious breach in a relationship. And I don't know how people recover past that. Especially if you're married and you've been married longer than this child, longer than older than the child. You've been longer past having sex with the mother and all that, because that means you have a child, and that means that you cheated. So you got to deal with all of that. So you say you'd be out. It wouldn't even be a discussion.
Yeah, that's a no-no. Not if you know. If
Right.
you know something like that, yeah, you need to be able to communicate that.
So now you've been married 10 years
Mm-hmm.
and the baby pops up. What do you do?
Baby, as in how old? Again, was this in the 10-year marriage?
Baby like 3 months old.
Oh, HQ though. We're not doing that.
We're not doing that. So either way it go, if a baby pop up and he know about it, whether you've been married a year or whether you've been married 10 years, you say it's time to go.
Yeah, I'm not doing that. But one, again, I feel like that it's the difference to me once I can forgive the infidelity, but now you've brought a life into the world. That changes the whole dynamic.
Mm-hmm.
That changes the dynamic because now I am forced into being a step parent.
Right.
That's completely not an option.
Yeah.
So that's something, again, like I said, it would depend on, for me, again, the age of the child. But if this child is younger, yeah, there's not a discussion to do that, because I wouldn't want to be a step parent. And I don't like when people do lie and then you're kind of forced into things that you didn't have an option.
Right.
So I like to at least have an option. Like, if this is how you are, give me the option. Just be honest, but give me the option to make a sound decision.
Yeah, because I don't see that. I just want to cheat. You know how they say, well, men cheat and that's, they just cheat or whatever. Mm-hmm. I don't know. You have to give me the option to say I'm going to stay or I'm not going to stay. You cannot put me in the position of being a part of whatever you have going on. And I believe you got to be transparent.
Yeah.
Question number 3. What's one of the traits that you will not compromise on when it comes to a man that you want to marry? What is one of those traits? He has to have this. Otherwise, you cannot do it.
Yeah, I touched on it before. Leadership. But for me, leadership in a smaller term would be solution-based. I need a man. For you to be a good leader, you have to be able to have solutions to things. Right. As they say, guys, they're the fixers. So yeah, I have to have a guy that is a good leader. That is a requirement.
Right. And that goes to a whole lot of things. There's no way you could be married to this person and they don't have leadership qualities, because then I'd be then I might as well be the leader. I might as well be the person that's in charge. And I don't want to be in charge. I want to be under the covering of a man. So if he doesn't have those leadership qualities, he's not solution based. What are we doing over here? Right? Do you find out those qualities when you first meet him, and then you know they're there, and then you don't have to worry about that's something that's checked off your list? Or is it something that you're willing to wait for him to develop?
I like to give things time. I don't feel like a person has to come into a situation and have every single thing. So like in the first month, if he hasn't shown me that he has leadership skills, I'm not going to leave, but I think it's something that takes time to actually notice. And I remember something that a guy told me before. He's like, all men are leaders. And I had to really kind of deep back into some relationships that I was in. And I'm like, that's not true. Just because you are a man, it doesn't make you a leader.
Right.
I feel like a man should definitely carry that trait, but it's not a one size fit all. Not all men are considered leaders just because they are a man. I would definitely give it time in hopes that he, has those traits. But I think it's fair to say that if in the first, month or so I don't see it, I wouldn't just leave immediately.
Right. Right. So here's your one of your good final questions. What if and you're in a marriage, you're in
Mhm.
a marriage, and you have a child, or you have children, or whatever. No, or he has children outside of the marriage before you got with him, and you don't have children. What,
Mhm.
what if he's a great husband,
Mhm.
partner, but he's a crappy father?
That's a no. That's a no. But that stems from basically saying, if you aren't there for your children, how can you show up for me? And he could very well be a good partner, but to me, that's a lack of leadership.
Right. Right.
It comes full circle. So I need for you to be present for your children in
Mhm.
order to be a good leader for the children that you brought into this world. Like that speaks to your character. So I think that's important.
So here's a question. Here's a side question.
Mhm.
You think a man could be a crappy father, husband, and still be a good father if you're in the same household with that man?
I do.
Mhm.
I
Mhm.
do. And I say that only because even though this doesn't apply to me, I feel like there are a lot of good fathers out there, but they're
Mhm.
not with the mother of their children. It doesn't mean that they're not a good father.
Mhm.
Sometimes it just doesn't work out. And even if they're living in the same house and they're co-parenting in the same household, I feel like the guy could still be a good father. Maybe he's just not suitable for that woman, but it
Right.
doesn't mean that he can't be a good father to his children. I don't
Eh,
think that would be a fair statement at all.
right. Right. And it's people who think because you live in the same household, but see, what if you live in a household and you treat the mother like crap? Would that still apply if you treat the mother like crap?
Nope, poor leadership skills.
Well,
And, and,
it's
if, and if we're talking about like what DV and like
yeah.
verbal abuse stuff like that, oh no, that's not good leadership skills for your children.
Mm,
You
mm,
have to lead by your children are going to absorb and sponge in what they see.
right.
So in the household, it starts there. So if as a father, if you laying hands and if you calling her all out of her name,
Right.
yeah, the kids are gonna see that. And if they are boys, they might even inherit some of that behavior. It might rub off on them as well.
Right. Right. And we want to encourage that whole dynamic. If you want to have children and you want to be a good husband and a good father, we want to be a good leader across the board. That
Mhm.
means being a good role model. That means being a good leader. That means being a companion and a good person to the person that you made your wife, or the person that you made the mother of your children. I mean, I believe if you treat one shitty, it's all across the board. There's a problem with you in one way or another. If you treat your children, see, and I really have a problem with men who don't who don't respect the autonomy of children, when you don't respect the fact that that's an individual human being too, right? Uh,
Mm-hmm.
that person needs you. That person depends on you. Okay. And then you take responsibility for all that that entails. If you don't do that, for me, you got to take care of your kid. If you want me to respect you, you to be on that playing field with me, you
Mm-hmm.
have to have that respect for your children, and across the board, you have to have the respect for the mother too. Even though y'all don't get along, I don't want to have nothing to do with her. I don't want to have nothing to do with her. But I'm a do you? The way I look at it is this: do you love that child more than you hate the mother?
Yeah,
Yes,
because
that's the bottom line for me. Do you love the child more than you hate the mother? That's
yeah,
it.
but it's even in people that are attempting to co-parent when there's bitterness between the adults.
Right.
Hearing women having just negative toxicity towards the father, and
Mhm.
they actually will vocalize that around the children. I've witnessed that on so many occasions, countless occasions. And so now these kids, they have these thought processes that the father is this and he's that, and he may not be any of those things.
Right.
But because the mother says your dad is this, he's a deadbeat, he's a loser, he's a liar, he's a manipulator, he's a narcissist, they will drag it out, and these kids start to believe that stuff. But I
Right.
think as kids get older, they start to realize, you know what I mean, like what's real and what's not.
Right.
And so when I come from hearing a lot of, I would say women. I do. I hear a lot of women talking, I mean, completely just man bashing the father of their children. And I'm like, that's who you laid with. Like, you know,
Right.
I mean, it's amazing to me how everybody has something interesting to say about the person that they chose to have children with.
Yeah, you got a shitty ticker. You picked shitty. You did that.
Yeah.
You did that. So it's the whole accountability piece too.
Hmm.
And she has to take accountability for the fact that you got pregnant by this person and you didn't know how to handle your emotions, or you did this, and how you treat the child, how you interact with the relationship, or how you make that relationship. Do you love your child? Do you love the kid more than you hate the man? Do
Yeah.
you know? It always comes down that for me, down to it for me. Do you hate the parent more than you love your child, man or woman? For me, and if I see you continuously bashing her or she bashing him, then I know you don't love that child more than you hate that person. And I could never be involved with you because I know it would be an issue for me to hear that on a daily basis. Or she ain't this, she ain't that, or he ain't this, or he ain't that. I couldn't be involved with a toxic person like that.
But I
Plain,
think in general, people plant toxic negative seeds without even knowing it. I
right,
think it's just an awareness in general. Like you can literally plant a bad seed just off of something that you say and it sprouts, especially if it's something on the internet. Oh my goodness, people run wild with this stuff on the internet. You could say one thing and it completely explodes into things that are just way left field.
way,
So, I mean, that just applies to everything. That's why I'm like, man, you gotta be careful with the stuff that you say, the
right.
people you associate with, the information you take in, the information you're putting out. All of that stuff has a huge impact.
It's wild the things that people say. It's
Hmm.
wild the things that people say, and not even worry about whether a child is in hearing distance of what they're saying. That's terrible. But I can't raise other people's children. I can only tell you these are toxic things and thoughts and just behaviors that people need to figure out what they're going to do, because they're not raising their children the way they need to be raised. If you're being toxic towards the father, you're being toxic towards the mother. We just got to do better, y'all. We got to do better, better, better. Thank you, Natural KRC. We want another lady to come up. Ladies, I see ladies in the chat.
I won't leave you up here hanging. So, like, if somebody else wants to come up, I just, I don't want to leave it to where you're just,
I mean, the ladies come up. We got Pink in the audience. We have Miss Smell the Roses. I saw Tierney. Woo! I saw Tierney. I saw a couple lady hearing it. I'm not really sure about Yes Freak if it's a lady or not. You know, you're not on camera if you don't want to be on camera. But I wanted to hear about the other because I had other questions for the ladies, different ones. You don't have to live up here. You know, it's just a matter of giving insight into how women think. I didn't see Tyranny. I don't think she's here. She probably took off. She probably did what she had to do. So another question, just in case, since you're here. Okay. This is another question I was going to ask another person. He, what about being on the internet? We're all on the internet. We're all on TikTok. We're all on Facebook. We're all on all of those things. What if he follows a lot of women?
It's not about who he. Well, I'll say this: I'm not a social media head like that.
Mm-hmm.
If I was to encounter a guy that was into social media like that,
Mm-hmm.
you know what? What are his interactions with these women? If he's following women, he's following women. But is there actual interaction to the point where it's like, okay, he's actually doing something?
Mm-hmm.
Um, you
So
know,
how do you feel when the men say, she got to shut her social media down. I can't have her on social media. How do you feel about that?
it does depend because you are a represent. Let me not say that. We are a representation of each other. I am a representation of him. He is a representation of me.
Right.
It depends on what this woman has on her IG. Look at the stuff that pops up on KG. These women got it all out. HQ, I'm like, man, they you want a man to come get you, and this is how you're representing yourself,
Right.
let alone having to be a representation of that man.
Right.
So it depends on what is on her Instagram. And I feel like he does have a level of say so when it comes to that, to a degree.
To a degree.
To a degree,
To
yes.
to what degree?
So these women that's up here twerking, shaking everything, like
Mm-hmm.
they are single,
Mm-hmm.
release her to the wild. She want to be wild, release her back out there.
Right.
If that's how she wants to conduct herself, put her back where she belongs. I think there has to be a clear understanding if you want um a certain level of an individual to take you seriously, you have to
Right.
conduct yourself as such.
Right.
So I don't think as women showing everything,
Mm-hmm.
as the old term goes, just because you have it don't mean you got to show it. You
Right.
can be classy, you can be tasteful, you can still be, all of those things and still look good. So realistically, I think if a guy is asking you to take your social media down, again, solution based, what is it that is triggering him to say that? I'm sure there has to be something because if you just have like a simple page with like basic things, I don't think a guy would do that unless he's just controlling in that way.
Right.
That's a different issue.
Right. I mean, if he follows IG models, but he doesn't make any kind of comments, he's
Yeah.
not out there doing any kind of goofy stuff, this, that, and the third. I don't see what's wrong with her having her being on social media. I mean, him being on social media. I don't see no problem with all of that. If he's looking at social media and he's commenting everywhere and he's, oh, you look good, blah blah blah. I think we have a problem with that. Specifically if he's doing it like a daily on all the pictures, on all of the things.
Yeah.
Would it be appropriate to ask him not to be on social media if he wants to be with you?
No, he can be on social media. I think there is levels to that.
Right.
Like there are some people that live on social media. They don't miss a moment. Morning, noon, and night, they are on social media. You know exactly what they're doing. Morning, noon, and night on social media. I'm
Mm-hmm.
not a big social media person myself personally, so I think it would kind of be a bit of a clash anyway. I'm one of those kind of people. If that's something that you enjoy, see, my thing is that we don't have to enjoy the same things. So, like,
Right.
I used to be a huge gamer. And just because I enjoyed gaming didn't mean that a guy was going to be gaming. And I've had back in the day guys tell me, like, dang, why you always on the game? That
Right.
was my thing when I was, younger, but I don't game like that anymore. So it's more so like if he wants to be on the internet, especially if
Mm-hmm.
we're not engaging. So if I'm in the kitchen cooking, and he wants to be on the internet, who is it hurting? It's not bothering me. Now, if I'm trying to have intimate one-on-one time with him,
Right.
Like, hey, babe, tonight's game night, right? Like, we're supposed to have game night every Friday night. And he's like, oh, no, I want to be, I want to be on Instagram. Now we got a problem. But
Yeah.
if we're not doing anything, I feel like who is it hurting? Like, I just don't make that huge of a deal about stuff like that. I just think you have to know there needs to be balance.
So why do you think men have a significant interest in selling a woman that he doesn't want to see? If she's on there and
Mhm.
she's just regularly posing and doing the Instagram and the TikTok thing, I'm not really sure how those platforms work, but she's just doing normal everyday, taking a picture, flashing, booty, blah, blah, blah. And then he says, I don't want you on social media. You think he should have the right to say, I don't want you on there at all?
If she can't get it together, like I said,
But
you
she
are a
just doing normal
representation
stuff.
of
She just
men.
doing normal stuff. She just
If it's just normal stuff, no, I feel like you can scale it back. So if you're one of those women and if you are that's what you do all the time, you're always on social media. Again, having some kind of compromise, like instead of maybe doing social media 7 days a week, maybe narrow it down to like maybe 3 days a week and only do like an hour, 2 hours a day. So see where you can meet that man in the middle versus just giving her the full gotta shut it down. Like, where can you guys meet and balance that out? Because I don't think it's fair to say you have to completely shut it down. Okay, where can we compromise with this? I try to always be flexible in seeing the other person's perspective, because although I may not agree, I do want to know how can we work this out together.
right. Because I don't think it's fair if you met me on social media and we're on the social media and this is a social world. It just is a social thing. I don't think it's fair for you to turn around and then say, no, you can't be on social media at all. That's just not something that would be feasible, because that person has a life just like you have a life, just like you were on social media. You both are doing the same thing, or so you both were raised in the same thing. I was raised without social media. I was raised without the computer and cell phone, all that. So for me to just completely cut it off, okay, sometimes I forget to even take my cell phone with me to the store. So I know if you just told me completely, you got to get off that social media, I could get off social media and I'd be like, because I'm not on it now. I'm only on it because I'm on this. Other than that, when I turn the computer off, I just peruse or go shopping or do things online. Other than that, I don't know
Yeah.
anything about TikTok or Instagram, or I don't know nothing about none of those other things. My kids put me on those things. So it wouldn't be a problem for me. But a young person that's 18, you tell them
Yeah.
they can be on social media, you're going to have a fight.
But you know what? A lot of times I think people come to social media and it's different for everybody. Um, I don't have to keep referring to what my page is about, but everybody has their own reasons why they're on social media. I do think that there's a whole lot of people that people just want to just talk about stuff, just talk. But I
Lonely.
think,
I think people want to have a connectedness with other people or similarity to other people. And that's how we end up online. Just
yeah,
end up
but
online.
I do think for even though I did come up with technology and stuff as a kid, my parents were so strict. My parents were strict, HQ. My parents were so extra. And I hope they
Mhm.
don't see this. They're gonna be but I mean, seriously, like we had a lot of restrictions growing up. So a lot of things my peers were exposed to, I didn't have access to.
Uh-huh.
But I do think that's why now I'm not so invested even into my own YouTube page. It's like I do stuff and then I'm just like, I'm done.
Right.
I'm just not that invested.
Some of us that it's not a major thing that we got to deal with social media. I'd rather
Mhm,
go outside and touch the grass. I'd rather go on a ski trip. I'd rather go on a vacation. I'd rather do all that, and I will leave that phone in the car all that time on the charger. Would not pay no more attention to it. I'm one
mhm.
of those people because I was born without it. You know what I'm saying? I can
Yeah.
live without it, but it's difficult for people who are right now in this society. We got to learn to put that phone down. You got to
Mhm,
learn to put that phone down if you want a relationship, if you want to conduct a real relationship instead
mhm.
of being on the phone in the social media. Learn to talk and communicate with people.
in person, because let me tell you, I went to over the weekend, I went to Texas Roadhouse, and I was in there by myself. But
Ooh,
it was so interesting to see people literally with another person engaging with their cell phone and not like the person that they were with. And I was like, what kind of date is that? Or like, what kind of interaction is that? You come out with someone just to be on your cell phone. I think that's a little
right.
awkward. I mean, I can see you having to check your phone. I mean, people have kids, whatever, life happens, but I'm like, man, they're just engaging in their cell phones. I'm like, but you're with somebody. Like, shouldn't you
Right.
be engaging with that person?
Right.
You know?
Absolutely. Absolutely. You should put the phone down. And I'm just weird. How do you just let your kids be on the phone and you be at the table? Shouldn't you be engaging in this whole that's the whole point of having a meal together. That's why I think it's so important when you get married for you guys to have as many meals together in that kitchen as possible so you can have that connectedness as a family, because kids have life, they go here, go there, but the one number one time when we can all get together and talk about each other and talk about our lives is at that kitchen table. I think
Mhm.
it's my parents was like, nope, kitchen table, everybody hit the kitchen table, five of us hit the kitchen table, dinner time, Renee set the table, get the plates out, y'all sit down. But we didn't have cell phones, of course. But I'm saying that was a time when we sat down and we talked and we figured out what was going on in the family. And I think we have lost that where people let people bring phones to the table. I would
Mhm.
tell my kids if I was getting married today, I'd be like, no cell phones at the table. They can be back there right behind you, but I don't want to see no cell phones on the table, and I don't want you answering no phone until we get done with this family meal. And then I'm
Yeah.
going to engage you, engage my husband, engage everybody so that we can try to stick together. Because once you become disengaged in relationships, it's very hard for you to bridge that gap back because you don't see any of the pitfalls. You don't see none of the red flags once you let loose on a person or you leave that person out there in the wind without this communication. I just think it's very important to put those doggone cell phones down at the table. I mean that. My grandkids, they're not old enough to use cell phone, but
Mhm.
they're not coming to the table looking me in the eyeball with a cell phone. No, I will take it away from you and you won't get it back.
I remember, it's funny that you mentioned that because I remember it was last year during the summer. I had went on like this little Girl Scouts trip with some of the girls from my previous job, and they freaked out because they had to go 3 days without their cell phones. Now, the adults, we had their cell phones just in case if an emergency happened.
Right.
It was weird because just those 3 days, it's not like they didn't have access to other things. Like they had TV, video games, we went shopping, we did a
Mm,
lot of different things, but
right.
just not having their phone for 3 days, they went crazy. And I'm just like, man, like, I mean, I do my morning and night text message with my mom and dad and my sister, but I'm like, other than that, I really don't, I
Right.
don't, it's not a attachment in that way.
It's
So
just a, it's just a tool to communicate with other people and find other things and do this, that, and a third. It's not to be on there all the time. I'm mostly on it when I'm in my house, but out there it's just a phone. I don't have any kind of connection with that. It's just a phone. And we got our next question. Mm. How do you know? How can you tell when a man respects you? How can you tell? What does
hmm.
What is the what does he do? What do you expect him to do? What does he do when you know he respects you?
It's a few different things, but I think just one thing that comes to mind immediately, because that's for me, that's a thought out question. But to something that comes to my mind right away is a guy that um, values my opinion, my thoughts. He hears me, he sees me.
Right.
He's not caught up on the worldly things and what everyone else says should be
Mm-hmm.
for a woman. And I know every man or every woman will have a different response for that, but that came to mind quickly for me. Although yes, the man has the final say, I do appreciate when a man can value my opinion. He takes into consideration how I feel. He's a safe space for me.
Right.
That is something that I think is important. Like, I want to be vulnerable. So when he can present that safe space and I feel that I can have that open dialogue with him
Mm-hmm.
and I can confide in him, that's crucial.
Mm. And your last three questions. No, last question. If you had to list the three most important things you use to pick your mate, what would those three things be? Most important thing, how he makes you feel, what he has, what else? Because this is a question that I have asked ladies all for the past 2 days.
Mm-hmm.
What made you stay with this man, or what made you get with this man? What would be your three main things that someone would look at you and say, well, why did you get with him? What would they be?
For me, it's character.
Mm-hmm.
I don't budge on that. I'm not flexible on it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care how good you look, and I've said this before. I was laughing when we were looking at the guys.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care about him being big. I'm compared to most of those guys, I'm considered small. So compared to those kind of guys, because they're much bigger.
Right.
So the character is a huge important factor. I also look at, again, like we were talking about, their leadership skills and
Right.
how he can actually lead me. Because I do think in order for us to have a successful relationship, he has to be able to provide those leadership qualities. Um, and then I think also his level of integrity.
Mm.
I've
Mm.
noticed just being on social media alone, and maybe it's just my own thoughts about it, but like, so many people just want to be in agreement with the next person. Everybody's on the same bandwagon. And if you're not, on the same bandwagon, then it's mm, people have a lot to say when
Right.
you don't fall into line.
Right.
So of course I've had my situations where, the guy doesn't use his integrity and he wants to go according to what maybe his boys have influenced him,
Mm.
and
Mm.
it's for decision making for himself, for the relationship.
So
So
he's got
having
to stand on his own. He got to stand on his own from the beginning. He can't be, so the man you're looking for cannot be ruled by the wind, however the wind sways him. He has to have that foundation already in
yeah.
him. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. You say that, yeah, that makes sense. That integrity has to be there. That integrity piece has to be there so very much for a man, in order because I have to respect you. I want to respect you. Once I begin to talk to you and you start to color your background in, that respect piece has to hit
Mhm.
immediately. That's the integrity that I see in this man. Nobody's going to persuade you off your square. There's been a couple of guys on this internet that have impressed me with them standing on their square. And it may not be the same as all the other men, but he has stood on his square and
And
he has
that
to
that
back
is
up.
exclusive. See, the
Yeah,
stuff that I'm
yeah.
attracted to is not the physical. Like, you could bring me up here a guy that has a six pack,
Mm-hmm.
and if he does not know how to articulate his words, if he is not, he has to stimulate me mentally.
Right.
And I think that there are so many people that can look at somebody and be like, oh, he's a good looking guy. And when I see some of the guys from KG show, I'm like, okay, he's a good looking guy. But I think about, how would I present this guy to my parents?
Right. 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 How do
That's
I
the thing
explain
I
this?
think.
Right. How
And
do
a
I
lot of
explain this
people,
guy? That's the biggest thing. How do I explain this goofy guy who just say anything to my parents? I can't.
Mhm,
I can't introduce you to him if you
mhm,
don't stand on your own square. I'm not saying be an asshole. That's not what I'm saying. What I am saying is be able to articulate what
Mhm.
you want to do, where you're at, why you're there, and why you feel the need to be the man that you are. Because a lot of people, they change their mind frequently, or maybe that's just the internet. Maybe that's just what they do on here. But I haven't run across a lot of men who I have looked at twice and said, yeah, I can tell he kind of has his shit to really together, and he's articulating his points and he's going against the grain. And I'm not saying being contrarian is what makes him my type. I'm saying if you see a man say something out of character and you know it's not particularly correct, then you need to he expresses himself in a way that says, oh, okay, maybe they didn't think of it that way. And it's a better way for me. And I resonate with that because I
Mhm.
haven't ran across a lot. It's men on here that are good, solid men. Don't get me wrong, they're not. They are.
Yeah.
I just haven't, for me, hasn't risen to the level of what I say, okay, I can take a second look at you because you might be just that interesting. Okay. And I
Yeah,
get it.
because I don't even think I'm not hearing the same things from the majority. It becomes more so like, is this a genuine, like authentic response, or is it just more so because that's what everybody else on social media is saying and it sounds good? But I remember when what was his name? Papa Dan. You remember him from the Kendra G show? He said that that woman raped him and he had a
Oh,
baby.
that young man. Okay, that young
Yeah,
man.
and so even with that guy, like, I
Okay.
remember there was so much negativity about how he looked and all that stuff, and I was just like, you know what? Like, I don't know, maybe I'm just not that invested on. Like I said, 10 people will say no, and I'll be like, yes. The only thing for me that was a strikeout was because he had that child. And you know how I am about that. But I didn't care that he was a big guy. It didn't matter. I think it's just so much more to individuals in
Right,
itself
right,
outside of, like we've discussed,
right.
the physical aspect. Every woman's not going to be natural. Every guy isn't going to be, this super fit guy. Every woman's not going to be super fit. And so I think I'm trying to just, even if it is not following what other people say, it's just being to the core of how I feel. And when a guy shows that trait, like you'll have a guy that's like, no, I don't mind that this woman, wears a wig. I think that's great because at least now, goodness gracious, thank goodness, somebody's finally saying something different. Like we're letting her just be her.
Now be
And
her that way, yes.
yeah, just be her. Not every woman's gonna want to be natural. Not every woman wants to, do all of that. That I guess the majority from what we hear on social media is the same song across the board. But
Right,
in my real life, the
right.
songs that I hear on social media are not the real life interactions that I have. And that's why sometimes it's like
Yeah.
the
Hmm.
the true core to people. I don't know if I think social media has a huge influence on people's
Right.
conversations and how they choose to respond.
I say the same thing too. And I'm always like, why is it that I don't hear this offline? Why I don't hear this offline? No man, I've never ran across men who say some of these things offline. It's like, really? You really think like that? Or are you just going along with the crowd?
Mhm.
Or do you really think that way? Because not all women are like that, and not all men are like that. See, I take people individually, and I look at people like everybody is in the middle. We all in the middle. We just are. We ain't no extreme here or there. Most of us right here. So you need to take that person individually and look at them not from all those talking points, but from that individual person. This might seem like a green flag because they say it's a red flag, red flag, but it's not
Mhm.
really a red flag. Not
It's
to
yeah,
me.
everybody's boundaries are different. And
Right,
that's why
right,
even when different people come up and everybody gives a different point of view, in a lot of ways, the point of views end up coming full circle to be the same thing, you
right.
know. And that's why I think living in your reality is more important than listening to the stuff that people talk about, because you could put a complete, like, I know that these panels are more like repetition. We're getting the same people. I
Right.
kind of talked to Ree about this the other day. I was like, man, you throw up a group of people we've never seen that have never watched your panel before, HQ,
Right.
men and women, you're going to get different kinds of feedback, of course,
Right.
because these are completely different people. You
Mhm.
know, you get the same kind of feedback from me or from
Mhm.
Jay Tillman or Zeus or Aaron. You know, you hear from us on a more consistent basis.
Right.
Start throwing up random people that just, you know, regular people that we've never heard from. It comes different. It sounds so different.
I mean, I visit other panels, I
Mhm.
watch other panels and I listen to other panels, and I'm like, they sound totally different from SBC chat. They sound totally different from SBC chat. And Fatty's group sounds different, way different from, so it's different groups out there that you run. Then there's the pro black group, and it's like,
Mhm.
it's so many different views. So you know what? I only go with my point of view and how I think. And I never it's not that I'm contrarian to be contrarian. It's just I don't think like you because I haven't ran into that in my real life. So I
Mhm.
know I know what I think inside of me. I know what I think. I know how I conduct my relationships, right? And when I
Mhm.
hear people with these weird way out, I be like, I don't know. Because when I hear people talk on this panel, it be completely different from SBC. And I'd be like,
You know what else I think about too? And I guess it's kind of it indirectly applies to me, but just thinking about how like my grandparents or your grandparents and our parents, things like that that are married, the
mm,
stuff that is like a standard for now wasn't a standard several years ago. And I
right,
know that they say you have to compete, so on and so forth, blah, blah, blah.
right,
Well, the marriage rates are a lot less now than they were way back then. And it's probably because all of these different like superficial requirements were
mm,
not in place.
mhm,
Like the women asking for six figures, that wasn't a thing back in the day.
right,
That
right,
wasn't a thing.
right,
Guys asking for women to be all natural, that wasn't a thing back in the day.
right,
It
right.
wasn't. Because I
Mm,
mean, honestly, I grew up when I was growing up in the church, I was seeing women, you know, having wigs,
right.
you know, and although that doesn't apply to all women, I do feel like it's the requirements that we, you know, have put in place, and it makes it harder to actually land
So you
that.
think all of these out of the way qualifications get I think they wait a minute, how do I say this? I think when you say she can't wear a wig, you're getting in your own way. When you say she can't wear a weave, you're getting in your own way to finding a woman that you may have compatibility with, besides the fact that she has a weave on. That may just be her only thing, but you say no weaves. I think you're in your own way. To me, you're in your own way. You're not even allowing for, and I think maybe 80% of the women out there may wear a wig, extensions, blah blah blah, braids, whatever. That means you're eliminating all of those women, and they could have the most beautiful personality that you're looking for in one of those women who may have an extension, or who may have an extended ponytail, or who may be wearing the ponytail for that day. But I think you're standing in your own way. You have to open up your back. But that's just me. I'm open to people, how you affect me, regardless of what. I want a person when I walk through the door, regardless of whether I have a weave, a wig, or whatever. I'm not one of those people that will normally wear a wig. I like to wear braids, but I will wear weave every once in a while. I will wear a wig every once in a while. When I walk through the door, I want you to accept me for the way I am, how I walk through the door, because you don't know what my personality is until I talk. So what I look like, of course, influences that.
Mhm.
But if you're attracted to it, don't tell me, well, I'm attracted to it, but you got a wig on. I'm attracted to it, but you got long fingernails on. I'm attracted to it, but blah blah blah. Come and have a conversation with me.
That's usually where I'm completely turned away anyway. It's
Right.
people's character.
Yeah.
Your character.
Right.
That is the most, because I feel like no matter what we do, there are certain things, we all have our flaws, that's clear. But just being a good person,
Right.
why is that seems to
Why
be
is
a
that so hard? Why is that so hard? Just do no harm. You come on this planet, just try not to do no harm to other people. Have an open mindset about people that may walk into you never know who you run across each and every day, who may not look exactly how you want them to look, but
Mhm.
they be a good person. They be a beautiful person. And that's why I'm so not into people who say, well, he gotta be black. I only require 6 feet because I'm such a fucking monster in height. That is the only reason why I insist on you being taller than me. Other than that, I don't really have the requirement. I don't really say you got to be 6 feet, you got to be this, you got to be that. Just at least be my height or a little bit taller. That's all I'm asking. And then be a good person who don't try to uh put me in a box where I can't be myself. Or
Mhm.
put me in I understand your boundaries. I get it. People have boundaries, they have all these kind of things. But if I come near those boundaries or come close to what you're looking for, give me an opportunity to talk to you and express myself and express the personality that I have. You might like what you see. I'm and on these panels, this may not be who I am all the time. It may be just a small portion of me, but then I have so much more that you don't see. You look
Mhm.
at me and say, "Oh, okay." Well, or people look at each other and say, "Oh, okay, you 10 pounds overweight. I'm not talking to you." But that what? What? I don't understand. What do you mean? I'm 10 pounds overweight. I got a love handle. I'm everything that you're attracted to. You're attracted to this, but I got a love handle, and that's gonna stop you from. Because now I'm not good enough because I got a little love handle? I'm confused. Are we here to find love? Are we here to find a companion? Or are we here to have the best version on the planet? Or are you really going to have trying to have meaningful, productive relationships out here? You see Black America, he be killing me. You know what, Black America? I be hearing you talking doggone chat. I'm too old to have requirement. You have lost your damn mind if you think I should not have standards when it comes to being in a relationship. I should take any old decrepit person that runs down the damn track because I'm almost 60 years old. That makes no sense. I have no see here, this is the way I think. What's the point in me living if I don't have hope, for some good things that are supposed to hit me in the relationship department? Why would I even say I don't have no standards? I should be just grateful for somebody to come over there and touch me. Just think about what I'm saying. Just think about what I'm saying. Natural. You're too old at 35 to even be asking for what you're asking for. You too old to ask for what you're asking for. How does that sound to you if somebody said that to you?
Social media talk. In my real life, like I said, the stuff that has been said to me on these panels.
I know, right? And it's like, really? You honestly really think that us human beings have been on this, we've been here for millennia, and people have found there, tell me, natural, is there people who fall in love when they 60?
Oh yeah.
Do people
Yes.
fall in love when they 70?
Yeah.
So
But
once,
here's
oh,
here's
okay,
the thing, to say to not have requirements, I don't know how deep that goes, but based on your own personal, not mine, based on your own personal morals, values,
right.
things that you hold dear to who you are, HQ. I don't
Mhm.
even know, does that mean you just put everything to the side, or like I can't speak on that, but I don't think you should just
Give up.
whatever. I mean, you still got to stand for something. You got
Right. You
to stand
gotta
for
have you gotta have a job. You gotta have a job. You gotta be actively moving. You gotta have your own this, that, and the, at my age, my standards and wants and desires are different from somebody who's 35, right?
something.
25, right? I don't require you to be a millionaire. I require you to be able to take care of yourself, and then we can take care of each other. I don't require you to be a 666 because that's unrealistic to be 65 and be on the 666 track. If you come that way, great. But I'm saying, when do we ever give up hope on trying to find somebody that cares about you, loves you, and does that? I get it. Some people come from a different road.
Mhm.
Your road is dark and dangerous, and they have trap doors, and women are trying to scheme on you, and women are trying to take your money, and that's the kind of world you come from. Maybe that's your dynamic, but that's not my dynamic. You see what I'm saying? Because I run into decent men every day. This man was like, I want to date you. He said it today. I want to date you. And I was like, do I really want to date people? I don't know. He was like, I've known you for a year, and I know you. I know how you are, HQ. And I was like, he's such a. You are so particular. Can we get along? Can we? So it's not a matter of me not finding someone or someone not chasing me to that extent. It's just, do I feel like we can jail? Do you have the things, and me worrying about him chasing women and doing all at this age? We don't worry about that kind of thing. I just ain't worrying about that kind of thing. You 70 years old, right?
But
So
I think the even the fact of everybody has a number on when you should be at a certain place in your life, and that's something that's really big on social media too right now. Everyone's like, okay, you're supposed to have kids by this age, you should be married by this age, you should be at this part of your career at this age, you're supposed to be here, and I'm like, the reason why I choose not to judge people, I don't know their story,
right,
because it applies to maybe your life personally. I can't say that a woman is supposed to have children by the age of 25. I can't say she
right.
was supposed to find her husband in college or at church. I don't know this lady's story. I don't even know how people come up with those kind of.
You hit the wall. You hit the wall, natural. You done hit the wall. At 34, 35, you done hit the wall. Do you believe you hit the wall?
Like I said, I don't listen to the nonsense that people say, because people don't live my life.
Right,
People speak off of what they've experienced and what applies to their life. You don't know what has happened in my life. You don't know what kind of things that have occurred.
right,
So I think a lot of times people just want to, it sounds good. It's their fairy tale story.
right.
It just sounds great. And I love when people say things about this comment. Um, when people say certain things on how, you should do this, you should do that. Well, like I tell people, there's just a lot of things that don't apply to me that may apply to other women. And you know what I'm referring to, HQ.
Right.
So, I don't put myself in boxes that people continuously try to put me in or put you in, or like, these boxes are ridiculous. Let people live their life as they choose, that makes them happy.
Mhm.
You're living, these people, they're living their life that makes them happy. So
Right.
let other people do the same. Even if it does not align with what you are doing,
Mhm.
it does not matter. Everybody has a different path. You've had a a show about this. It's just people have this cookie cutter lifestyle of what you are supposed to do. And if you don't do it by a certain time, it's over with. And I do understand what they mean about the whole children thing, but I don't care. It doesn't apply to me. It doesn't apply. Let it fly. That those conversations don't apply to me.
Right.
So that's neither here nor there.
Right.
But I think just certain things just need to be like, just leave well enough alone. That's just me.
I'm like, you don't even understand that there is so many shapes, sizes, colors, personalities, beauties all over this planet. I don't ever look at a person and say, well, you're overweight and you can't get anything. Look, there's many of examples all across this world that says differently. Well, you're so black, you're ugly. There's so many examples across this world that doesn't even register with me. Well, you're too old. There's so many examples around this world that don't even register with me. I believe we all can find what we're looking for if we look long enough, if we care enough to be open to another human being. When people say to me, are you old? What does that mean? What does that mean? There's still people on this planet that want to love other people, regardless of whether they want to have kids, don't want to have kids, fat, skinny. It don't matter. Just your circumstance. You should see. This is what I want people to do. Make your circumstance the best circumstance it could be. Max yourself out. Max yourself out. However you need to max yourself out, be the best you can be in the weight, the look, the money, however you need to do it, that makes you comfortable. And then go out there and say, hey, I'm the best that I want to be. This is the best me. This is how it's going to be. And then find that love however you want to, because when these men come over here and say she fat and she can't find no love, I know y'all lying.
But people don't know what other people want. It's the assumption of what people want. Nobody knows what I want. Nobody knows what you want. You know why we don't know? HQ, I don't know you in real life. I know you off of this internet, and that is it, and that alone. So I don't know what you may want in a man as far as in details. Absolutely not. And I think it goes so far to say that everybody says you can't get or you're not getting. You don't know what is going over on this side of the world, because we ain't even in the same state. You don't know.
And you know what? That first show that you had, and then you came up and it was Fatty was that, and he said, oh, it's got to be her personality. I was like, what the hell are you talking about? That's the only thing that's the first thing that hit my mind. What the hell is he talking about? You're going to use that talking point. You're going to come up here with that talking point when you know. And I know this is an intelligent human being. I know he's an intelligent human being. If you've seen him anywhere else, I know you could tell he's an intelligent human being.
So but it's always the same talking point. It's always the same talking points. Like the comments of just a lot of different things as it pertains to just, again, having the same kind of people in the chat, the same kind of people on the panel. It's the same things, because it's never anybody different. It's no, the perspectives are the same, but it's always more so. And I'll just say this. Yes, you're older than me, but as a woman, I don't even feel comfortable being disrespectful. And I mean that to any degree. Like, I'm not going to come up on your panel and use profanity. In my personal life, will I do it? Yes.
Yeah.
But there's just a level of respect. Right. I'm just not going to do it. I'm sorry. Right. So I try to be mindful on just everything that I'm putting forth as it pertains to being on the panel, being in the chat. All of these things to me are okay. When we're talking about we can't get what we want, or we're not doing this, what you see may not be what you get when people are up here on these panels. But I do think, considering that these are, things that everyone has access to. Yeah. Because if a guy did say, you know what, I might be interested in so-and-so, depending on how you conduct yourself and how you put yourself out there, that's a factor. That is a factor.
Right. And I say, Don't say no, because early on when I started this channel, it was a woman who came on. It was a woman who came on, either Ashley or Kendra G. I can't remember. It was a woman. She was so feminine. She was so feminine. That's the only thing I could say. She was so feminine, but she was a little overweight. She was little overweight, a lot overweight. I can't remember. And the first thing I did when I did a review of her, I said, "You all, this is a beautiful woman. She's feminine. All of these things." And I said, "You guys don't, you cannot dismiss her because she's a little overweight. But this is what you all say you want: the submissive, the friendly, all of these things." And I say, you're missing out on the blessings. But if you open your head and you open your mind and you open all of these things, you could get what you want if you open your mind and your brain, your head to all of these things, because there's so many human beings on this planet. I'm just one of those people that believe you can find what you're looking for if you just tweak a little bit of if your standards is she got to be 6 foot, she got to weigh 5'10", she's got to be all these things. It's going to be difficult for you to find that love that you're looking for, that genuine what you're looking for. I'm not saying you can't get it. I'm saying you're missing out on the chick if you say she got to be 6 foot, but she might be 5'11". You're missing out if you do that so stringently.
Mm-hmm.
And I get it. So I'm saying I give grace to people on here. I give grace to them, and I say, hey, that's all you. But HQ stands in the middle of beautiful people, short, tall, fat, skinny. It don't white, black. I don't look at none of these people and say, no, you can't get what you want. I look and that comment from Black America, he always gets on here and he always say, you too old, HQ. I don't take that seriously because that's not the results that I see in my regular life. I have options in my regular life. I may not partake in those options. You may have, and then I could, and the same thing with that conversation with Fatty and you. I said she has to have options, the options that she doesn't want, but she's very specific with that particular option, and that's something she's not moving from.
Mm-hmm.
Has nothing to do with her personality. Has nothing to do with that. It's darn near that standard, that one thing. Mm-hmm. It's out there. She just her pool just has to open up in some capacity, but it has nothing to do with her personality. And I know you're intelligent enough to understand this. I was thinking in my head to say that, but I didn't say that. Now you know
what? It's just like when people say, well, why do people go on Kendra G and stuff like that? I personally wouldn't do it. But I do understand that you have access to who you are exposed to. I'm in Chicago. Maybe my husband or maybe my significant other is somewhere in Texas. I don't know. It just gives you more of an exposure or whatnot. I just feel like I'm not a closed-minded person. I try to be open to different scenarios and just different things. I mean, I found out some of the guys are actually child-free just like me in the chat, but I didn't know that off the bat, you know. Right. And again, there's levels to that because I am flexible, HQ. I've just never, I don't go into depth on that stuff. Right. And I think it's more so like knowing that I am a flexible person and knowing that I don't have like that nonsense height requirement. Like I said, I'm too short to have a height requirement. Who am I to have a freaking height requirement?
I didn't know you were as short as you were. I didn't know you were 4'11". 4'11", right?
Yeah, I'm 4'11".
I was like, wait a minute, she's little thing. What the hell are y'all talking about? She's a short little thing, right? I look like a monster next to her, like this much, right? So I was like, are you nuts on this? So I just want people to be open their horizons to the beauty that is out there. I don't hate on the passport bros. I don't hate on none of them. You go wherever you can find that love and that person that you need to find, because we are on this planet for a short time. If you want to be loved and want to be in a relationship for a long time, it takes a while to find that person. You just don't immediately find the person that is going to be your soulmate or going to find the person that's going to be the love of your life. See, and those are two totally different people. You might have two sunrises. You might find the love of your life early and something might happen and you might break up. And then at the end of your life, you might find the person that you want to spend the rest of your life with. We cannot say that we're just going to find that person immediately and then that's it. The sun rises and sets, and there's all different kinds of people on this planet. And the person who wants me and I have a twin, he may not even be looking at my twin because I resonate with him. All almost 6 foot of me resonates with him. He say he want a skinny woman, but he looks at me and he said, "Oh, she's kind of thick. Maybe I might change my mind." So be open to those things because we all in the middle. There's beauty everywhere. I believe that wholeheartedly. And go ahead.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, we were talking about that heavyset guy on the other night. The heavyset guy. I was not hating on that guy, not at all. I was just saying, if you're gonna have the same energy, have the same energy. And I wanted to put something in the men's mind. You see how the standard, just because a woman is heavy, doesn't mean she doesn't have those other qualities. She might be 10, 20 pounds overweight. Okay, cool. Okay, cool. You don't want a 80, 100-pound over. I get all of that. But she's 10, 15 pounds and you see, you don't know. You're just dismissing her. So I'm saying, you see how dismissing her makes very little sense when she's a beautiful woman, but you want us to accept the heavyset man, but we're not supposed to be upset when you throw us away because we are 20 pounds overweight. You cannot throw people away because they're overweight. You have to look at the jacket of the person. That man sounded reasonable to me.
He was a big boy. I was like, sign me up. But you know, I've had my fit guys, but I'm just not biased. Like I said, I don't care if he's bald. He could be bald headed, dreads, braids.
Yeah, but he said he liked the small women. He said he liked the petite ladies.
Wait, HQ. From what we've heard, you know.
What?
You know what we hear? Natural KRC is huge. I'm a whale.
Look, girl, I was like, no, you didn't. I was like, no, you didn't get on here and start acting up, and you know better. I said, boy, you know better, and you know better, right? And I was like, you stop that because, and then I just don't. I understand that he's trying to be hyperbolic. I get that, but when you really have a conversation with that person, that's not it. That all of that is just he's
but
on.
You know what? That man being as big as he was, and considering again how short I am, and you've seen what I look like, HQ. Like,
yeah,
it's not like, you know what I'm saying. So I think people get a little ahead of themselves, but that's.
But he got on Kendra G to get women to.
That's what I was about to say. I don't feel like he should be trying to get no super fit woman. He's not fit. But see, that's where he's blocking his own blessings by doing that, having that standard.
Right.
And so when you are that big, I think you need to, as they say, stay in your lane. Stay in your lane. You're a big guy. No, you may not want a woman that's 400 pounds, but like he should be open to dating a woman that's big because he was big. Now, compared to him, I'm really, really tiny compared to him. Right. He was a giant. And I've dated guys like that. I've dated some really big, husky guys.
6 foot something? Wasn't he a big guy or something?
He was a big boy. And I bet you know what? You know what? I bet you he was as sweet. I bet you he was a really kind guy.
He came across it. He was everything. He was everything. He has the means, the protector, the provider. He has all of those things. Why
I was
wouldn't
mad at
he
you,
reach out?
HQ. I was almost trying to figure out, was he on the KG app? Now I'm not on the Kendra Singles Day now, but I was like, dang, HQ turned a bit like I was interested.
I'm pretty sure he
That's
is
so
on. I'm pretty sure he
going.
is on there. I mean, you need to go back and look at the show and then, look at and see if he's on there, because he did say he was in the gym. He did say he was doing
I'm not
that.
getting no Kendra app for that.
Do you got to pay for that? You can't be on there like a trial, like a 5-day trial or something, and then you get on there and look and find and then get off. You can't do that.
I don't know.
You
I
know
don't
what I'm
know.
saying?
But I just think like, and that's why when people say you're not getting the results that you want, when you have all of these high requirements, like I remember I kind of referenced to this before, you can be fit, but it doesn't make you attractive. We've seen women on here that were fit or guys that are fit, and people be like, oh, they're unattractive because of their face card. Right. I'm thinking about the personality. I'm not so much caught up on the face card part, but like if this person is fit, are they humble? Are they kind? Because there's a lot of people that are fit and then they start, they're rude to people that are not in their size category.
Look at the people saying.
I mean, I don't know, but I think it was more so for me, the stuff that he was saying, he was able to address the fact that he's going to the gym. He's going. He's not going to drop the weight in a day. It's going to take time.
Right. And he's willing and he's open to that discussion. Right? Yeah. He's open to that discussion. If you say, hey, I can go with you, let's do this together, you blah, blah, blah. He's open and he's willing to do that. I think he had all of the things natural. He had all of the things. He wanted to be the protector. He wanted to be the provider. He could articulate what he wanted. Professional, all of these things. And then a good woman just needs to come along and say, hey, I'll take you by the hand. I'm willing to do all the things that are necessary. And he liked petite women. I ain't nowhere near petite. I couldn't take you. I ain't nowhere near petite.
But I'm a little short lady, but I'm not this slender. I mean, like I said, you see my page. I'm not slender by any means, no, but I'm not
blowed out.
In my state, these men are not complaining. I'll put it that way in my state. Right. But even the fact that I think knowing, because it was funny when you and Flora were like, and I was like, what? I was like, but even a lot of women would X him out the box though, just because he was a bigger guy. And I sent that clip over to like some of the girls that I chit chat with, and they were like, what are you doing? I was like, he looked big to me, but it's because he was big. I know.
Right. And that rules, and we're just like men. We have our bias in that regard. We have that bias, and we can't you can't help that bias. It is what it is. But my whole thing is, if you find those but my thing was, I was really pushing it. I was pushing it because the men say it all the time. And I see the double standard. I see how that doesn't look. There's beautiful people, regardless how big they are or whatever. Mm-hmm. You don't know that person can have everything that you want. And you just dismiss them because they got roll on their back. I just don't see if all of us are on here to find somebody to love us, to accept us how we are, to feel good about us, to do all of those things, to spend your life with somebody, you got to start looking at that personality. You got to start looking at how people present themselves. You got to start looking at their integrity. You got to start looking at those things, because there's no way that people are going to get into these. And I get it. It's a visual thing here on YouTube. But we got to get back to looking at those personalities, actually talking to people, finding out what they do. And I say to you, hey, they might have hair, nails, and all that good stuff, but you don't know what she's like until you walk over there and talk to her. She might be a lawyer who's wearing a costume today.
I'm
She,
sorry. I'm looking at these crazy chats.
yeah, they
Um,
talking 2 point crazy. I see them too. I see them.
people don't. I mean,
They wild.
but yeah, I think it's more so. I've already talked about what my extreme deal breaker is. And again, there is room of flexibility within that. And
Right.
so acknowledging how much that is a challenge to even come encounter with someone that is on that level is slim. And that's why when you see the few of us in the chat having that discussion, there's like three of us that relate on that same topic.
Right.
There's only like three of us. So it's like that world is really, really small,
Right.
which is fine. That's okay. But I'm like, when people say you have to live in your real world, you really have to live in your real world. You
Right.
can't,
You
you
cannot
cannot,
come on here. You can't come on here and then
no,
take on other women and men's
you don't know these people
bias.
from a can of paint.
You can't take on other people's biases. You just can't do that. You got to look at what, because that's why when I hear men say, we don't date fat women, but all of them got fat wives and they got fat girlfriends.
You heard what Reese said. You heard what Reese said a few videos back. He was like, every guy on the panel pull up y'all ex pictures, something like that.
Right.
Reese said back, but
so how you get on here and how you get on here talking greasy about women and this is your ex or this is your wife or whatever? Be honest on the path. And men don't, I get it. Men don't want to feel ashamed and I mess with her, but I won't take her out in public. See, that's the kind of man that I have a problem with. You're not standing on your square. If your woman is big and you like big women and that's just your thing, stand on that. I have more respect for you if you stand on that than you come on here and say, I ain't dating no big woman. And then we look in the corner and your wife big. Or we look in the corner and on your wall and your girlfriend big. Or you date a big girl, but she white. Or whatever. Stand in your square. Don't because I know out of the 100 men that we run across, I know damn well at least 30 of y'all dealing with somebody big. Stop it. Stop lying about that. Right? And that's what I mean by I need your integrity. I don't need you to be on here fronting because other men might embarrass you because you got a big woman. Okay? And we know, all these fat chicks, they stay pregnant. Y'all better stop it. These big girls stay pregnant. Stop it. Y'all be over there. Okay? So I'm just saying, in my real life, I see skinny men with big women all the time. I see big men with big women. I see vice versa. I see all different shape, sizes, and colors. Mm-hmm. Only you can make you happy. I ain't worried about what people think. I ain't worried about what people think on here. Not in my real life. I don't worry about that at all. If I feel like getting a short guy, I get a short guy. If I feel like getting a tall guy, I get a tall guy. People come out and you say, well, you can't get this and you can't get that. I can get whatever dude I want to get that's in my life out here. And I feel like chasing him and he's within my in what I want or what I require or what I need in my life. No problem. That's not the problem. The problem is when we get on here and people say, you shouldn't date that woman. She got red flag. We never know what we don't know that. Everybody's working with different things, different equipment. We never know. That's the whole point. Go out there and touch some grass, goddammit. Y'all go out there and touch some grass. So when you say women will always be able to find men. Men, not so lucky. But here's the thing. If you come in the best version that you can come in, you might get lucky. You might get lucky enough where it just might have what you want. Okay. But you can't be stuck on, she got them long nails, she got wig. You can't be stuck on that. Because if you get stuck on that, you might just miss your blessings. And I don't want nobody to miss their blessings out here. Nobody. We shouldn't. And Natural Chaos, thank you for coming up. Thank you. This was a good discussion. I wish a lot of women would come up and we could all have a discussion together, and then we could all flesh out these kind of questions. What are we doing? Are we in here to find love? Are we in here to have a better understanding of women, a better understanding of what makes us move? Our individual lives are so totally different. Our results obviously are going to be different, right? And when you put us in a box and we're all in a box, all black women, all fat women, that's not how the world works, not how we see it, because our experiences are different. KRC, natural KRCs is different from mine. Mine is different from Repink's or whatever. They're totally different, and we respond differently as women. We respond differently, but we are trying to be. I'm trying to be a good faith person. I'm trying to be a good faith person. When I speak, I want to be truthful when I speak. Obviously, my personal experience is different. I've shared a lot of things with you all, but not primarily how I felt and this, that, and the third. Some things I have, right? And some things, I keep to myself because they may be weird to other people or whatever. But for the main part, I want us to stick in the middle where generally everybody thinks. Primarily, this is not a weird thing. We're not talking about out of the ordinary people. All of us are just regular, ordinary, average people. We ain't got movie star looks. We ain't got movie star money. We just normal, everyday people trying to make it out here. This is the way I want shows to connect. I don't want no man. If he come with $1 million, he come with $1 million. But if he's weird, that $1 million means nothing. That means nothing. So it's not about money, and it's not necessarily about look. It's about how you come across. Do you have integrity? Are you a person that I can feel safe and secure with? Can a woman feel safe and secure with you? Are you that type person that emits like that you need a plan to have a woman in your life? Have you made room for a woman in your life? Have you made room for a man in your life? Do you work 24/7? How are you supposed to have a man in your life if you work 24/7? Vice versa. And what does that look like if you're trying to make that happen? Do you cut down on what you're doing? These are the things that we want to find out when we talk about relationships and women. Women are so complex. Men are so complex. We're all so complex. We don't cookie cutter. We don't fall into the same shape and everything else. What I find fat, somebody finds skinny. What I find rich, somebody finds poor. You got to find your niche. You got to find your niche. But the one thing you cannot do is be so narrow-minded in what you're doing that everybody else, you miss your person.
It's like somebody threw in the chat about just people, like just the being picky, kind of like referencing to the whole requirements thing. Like everybody is super picky, and if that's going to be the norm, when we're talking about checking boxes, everybody has all these boxes, and I'm like, man, I got one main box, and that box can't get checked, and I just got one main box. You know what I mean?
You can't even get that. You can't even get that. I can't get that one. And that's
11, 12 boxes.
And that's what I was trying to explain on that show. I was like, I get it. I completely get it. It's almost because someone will lie to you in the beginning and then you're stuck down the road. But you have this requirement. How do you know they're not lying? You know what I'm saying? Just to pull you in. And so you have to be doubly mindful of what you're looking for. You have to think, you have to check once, measure 2 or 3 times, because people will gaslight you and you're in it, in the middle of it. And then you're pissed off because I'm here and you knew what I wanted. You knew where I was at. But yet and still, to get me, you tricked me. See, that's one of that's one of the main things that's gonna be. I mean, I see why it's difficult. I do. It's not impossible.
Mm-hmm. But as you know, like I said, transparency. I don't see, and that's the whole thing. People, when you look at it like, okay, well, man, like these are my deal breakers, or this is something I'm not flexible to. It's like, okay, you could be flexible to 10 things, but if your non-negotiable is the more uncommon thing, it's still the odds are still stacked against you because it's not a common thing. So I think it's just considering what that deal breaker is, and just again facing your reality. And I
So
think it's okay to face your reality and own your truth and understand like this is what you're saying you don't want.
so I'm
Be
a
okay.
talking code. I'm a talking code. Okay, I'm a talking code. So when we were having that initial discussion,
Mm-hmm.
you would never consider that. Remember when you first got
My deal breaker.
no remember I said somebody was intelligent so they should know better?
Oh yeah, would I ever consider that person?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it's the personality. That's an absolute no. Do the personality.
But I'm saying
But
offline is
since they align with me on that one thing, they addressed it. They said that they also kind of value that same thing that I do. It would
mhm.
be fine. But considering, again, for me, it's personality. I don't care about the others. It's the personality.
But what if that's just a facade?
First impression. When I look at what's happening, see, I'm
Because I said something I saw. Don't respond to this, but I saw something say silver. When I saw that word, I went over there, and that is a big part of their family. That word. And I was like, huh. Huh. And I was like, huh. Wait a minute. Because at the same time that I said it in my head, that person said, wait a minute. Is that a part? Does that name ring a bit? Is that in their background too? I saw the light bulb go off in that person's head. And I said, what's going
Mhm.
on here? And then you just said personality, so forget it. Okay.
Because when people, this is me, and I know this doesn't apply to everyone,
Mhm.
but I see what you show me. And if my only interaction with you is online,
Mhm.
even if I was interested, now I can't be. You've shown me something that has now become a deterrent. So that's why I say I do put my best foot forward in all circumstances. If I'm running up the street to Myers, I'm not going there in my pajamas. I'm not going there in my bonnet because I don't know who's there.
Right, right.
So I need to always make sure, first of all, I'm going to look and conduct myself in the best way possible for me first. But
Right,
also, I don't know what's out there. I don't know who's popping up in this chat. I don't
right.
know who's going to be on the panel. And
Mhm.
see, these are the kind of things, because if that situation was different as it pertains to personality, HQ, you done hit it on the head. And I called it.
I'm just gonna say this. I ain't gonna say no more. I have had interactions off.
Mhm.
He not totally different. Just
But
totally
you've shown me otherwise.
right.
And I'm not going to take that opportunity to figure you out in a different way.
Mhm.
That first interaction, those presentations that you've put forth have given me a different impression of you. And I am not interested in trying to play riddles and games. So, with me, what you see here is what you truly will get as it pertains to my personality, who I am at the core, and how I conduct myself
Right.
I think all of those things are valuable as we speak on integrity. Who are you truly? I don't want this entertainment you. I want the true, authentic you.
Right.
And in the real world, I bet you that person would probably, yeah, that because of that one thing, it would, that was actually quite interesting because I didn't expect the response that I received. So when it came up, I was like,
I'm just saying, highly intelligent, highly intelligent. I'm almost lawyer-like.
let me find out you want some Kendra G singles right now.
I ain't gonna say, I ain't saying no more because you said what you said. I ain't saying no more. All I'm saying is highly intelligent, highly
Yeah.
intelligent. Okay, that's it. And they highly intelligent. But anyway, thank you, KRC Natural. Thank you for showing up with your
Yeah.
beautiful self. Thank you very
Thank
much.
you. I like I promised you, I will make sure that I am available on Tuesdays and Thursdays. I just started my little community outreach here in Chicago. I'm super excited about. So
Okay.
we can I got
Well,
some
do
volunteers.
you have anything to put in the chat that somebody could go to? Put your link in the chat, all
I
that.
have a wrench.
You can't put nothing in the chat without a wrench?
It's not a clickable link.
I don't know how to
I
do
mean,
that.
the only thing that I have literally is like the link to my YouTube page, but like anything from my community outreach, unless they live in Chicago.
Mhm.
I mean, it's on my page. I've been trying to get volunteers to help me with this outreach project I started for here in Chicago.
Okay, can you read it to me and I put it, can you put it in the back chat and then I can click it and then put it in the whatever?
My YouTube page?
No, whatever you want them to go to or click on or whatever.
Oh, well, no, I don't have, it's just a video on my page about it. Just the community.
Okay.
I've been trying to get volunteers that are like in Northwest Indiana or Chicago because I'm doing the end of this month, I started this whole thing of doing community outreach. I have a couple of volunteers that are helping me. That's why, like, when you're doing panels and stuff, I'm like, man, I gotta know what days, because
Right.
I've really been trying to get this off the ground. It's been a passion of mine, and I'm like, I have got to get it going. So I'm super, super, super excited.
So
I'm
just
finally
repeat it here. Repeat your page here and then say it out loud. Cause we got 30 people in the chat, and then you might get lucky.
Oh, I can put look at Sir Tillman got his ranch. He could put my my page link. Hold on, let me see. Yeah, I'm super excited about it. I don't even know how many people are really in the Chicagoland, Northwest Indiana area, but I can throw my page in the chat to have that accessible.
Jay. Oh, there's Jay right there. Jay is here. Okay. He's on his phone. Oh, he on his phone.
Hey, Sir Tillman, we missed you on the panel.
Well, I think he's personal, doing something personal.
Oh, okay.
With him, personal.
So yeah, it's been a lot going on with that, and so that's been taking up a lot of my time. But I'm like, it's finally in place. I finally got some volunteers. It has been a ringer to get that off the ground. So
okay.
I just put my channel in the link in there, but like I said, it's only going to take them to my actual YouTube page, and then there is a video about it for the whole community outreach that I'm starting. So like I said, I start that at the end of the month. I'm doing it for each month. It'll be the last Saturday of the month. So yeah, it's been a headache, I won't lie.
Are you willing to, if you found the right person, would you be willing to would you be willing to move?
Oh yeah, yeah, that's not a problem. Actually, I want to leave Chicago. Look, the only thing I feel like that keeps me here though also is because my parents are here.
Okay,
but again, within reason. So I wouldn't move out of the country, but I am open to relocation. That's never a problem for me. I'm ready to get up out of here. So sick of Chicago.
I mean, I love the fact that we can communicate with somebody all across the world by Zoom, by just like this. I love the fact that we can do that. because you know that you get a reach for a whole bunch of people, and you never know who might live in a foreign land. You just never know. So that's the whole point. But thank you, ma'am. Thank you for coming up. We got to get the ladies to come up and actually have the conversation. But we had a good discussion.
I put it on my page. As soon as you link it to your page, I pull it. I repost it on my page. It's up there from the time you post it on your page. I put it right away on mine. And then, yeah, I was like, maybe some people that we don't know may see it on my page and come on. But yeah, I don't know.
Okay. Well, then thank you, ma'am. Thank you for coming up. Thank you for coming up. And she is in Chicago, the Chicagoland area, everybody. Free. And
you doing Kendra G moves.
I'm done. I ain't doing no more. I already did my plug and you already said what you had to say. So thank you very much.
Did it go into the chat, my link?
I'm trying to see. Did it go? Where did you put it?
I put it from on my phone. I threw it
on. Okay. Jay Tillman, he did it. Okay.
Oh, thanks, Sir Tillman. We appreciate you. Yeah, because I don't have no wrench. Somebody was like, HQ got to give you a wrench. I said HQ will bless whoever she wants with the wrench. It doesn't have to be me.
I said something happened to the channel, and then I went in to change it and give wrenches out and try to, and I somehow I pressed the enter button and everything got deleted, and then it wouldn't let me put it back. And the only way for me to put it back to give people a wrench or give them a certain type of wrench is when the video goes off. This video goes off and it has to be quiet for the replay. I can only do it in the replay, right? To give people chat. So I can't go in there and actually do it. I have to do it in a replay. So I will do these things in the replay when I have an opportunity.
I've been trying to find your email, HQ, because I've been meaning to talk to you.
Oh, okay. I put it in the back chat. It's easy. It's very simple.
You don't have it on your page?
I have no idea. But it's all five letters of my children's name start with. .com. It's in the back chat. Right there. Okay. You got it?
Let me make sure. I think I got it.
In the private.
Okay. Yeah, I got it. I just want to double check. Yeah, because I was thinking about something, and now you be putting stuff on my mind. A lot of times when I'm not on this panel, I have a notebook that I sit here and I'll be taking notes while you be having stuff going on, and so I start thinking, and I like to take notes. I like to, keep things going. So I'm like, man, I gotta get HQ's email, so I'll be sure to definitely reach out to you there.
Well, thank you. And tomorrow. Do we still want to talk about Sinners?
That was such a good movie.
I really want them to show up. I really want people to get on the panel and really let's have a discussion. I fell asleep. So I didn't want to pay for it again. I didn't want to go and pay for it again and then fall asleep again. So I haven't seen it. So somebody said I can do a fire stick. I don't know. What do you mean? Break a fire stick? What does that mean? I don't even understand. So, and I don't have to go back. I can watch the fire stick. So I was like, I don't know what you mean by break whatever the hell you're talking about. So I have seen some of it, the bulk of the movie, but some of the things I missed. So I want to have a discussion. Everybody come on the panel and we have a discussion about Sinners. Because I thought what I saw was pretty good. And then I listened to some reviews and I was like, dang, I missed all that. Damn. So hopefully
really good movie. Really good.
Hopefully people show up tomorrow. We're not talking about 1 million people. We just need 4 or 5 people who want to jump on the chat, jump on the panel and talk about what they saw when they went to see the movie. So that's what we want to do tomorrow, 6:00. Thank you, KRC.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for you guys for showing up. It is what it is. It is oh, wait a minute. I meant to read one more. Mr. Walker, $5 super sticker. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you. And hopefully he wasn't going to say nothing crazy because he say things that be wild in these chats. So thank you, ma'am. Thank you for coming up. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me. Have a good night.
Love you. And make sure you got that email in the back.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
You're welcome. So everybody, tomorrow, we're going to do our Sinner review. What the hell is going on with this Sinners movie? We want to see. We want to hear what you got to say. I'm going to figure out how I can watch this damn movie. Somebody got to show me, give me a fire stick. I got to break it tonight. I don't know. I don't know. But either way it go, we're going to have that talk tomorrow. Y'all supposed to be hitting that like button, going in and out of the door. Hit the like button. Hit the like button. My lamp is right here. Forget y'all. I got to go eat. I ain't ate since 12 o'clock this afternoon. Got to go eat. Thank y'all. And I'll see y'all tomorrow. Tomorrow. Let's do this with Sinners.